As we were just saying, our presentation is a week from tonight. It's basically going to be the Elise show. I'm not going to do an intro because we don't want to waste any moment of time on any BS, and that's my job. So it'll be Elise, Elise, Elise. I do hope that y'all will call into the meeting or go to the meeting, one or the other. I think it would be great to be able to show our support. I hope that you saw Sarah's note today that the survey went live and that the folks who received the presentation in hard copy and all were so impressed with it and complimented us on the work that we've all done, which I'm going to say what you guys have done, our 3 crew members here. I think that's it. So, Elise, it's up to you now. What you got?
Was I supposed to prepare something besides?
No. Do you want to go over your presentation? Do you want to give us a cold, do you want to do it as a practice? Or do you have anything that you want us to be aware of that if we're asked questions about it, we might be prepared for it?
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll just touch on the things that I took out of the presentation.
Okay.
Let me actually open the original one. I did take out the stuff on the demographics.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be some questions that come up around that, maybe from the council members that saw the original presentation and noticed that that's gone. So it just seemed like it was kind of a big thing to include in the meat of the presentation, but then if it's asked about, then certainly I'll have some notes written up so that I can comment on that. I also, I guess here, let me just share. Okay. I'm just tightening up my notes a little bit.
Okay.
So I boiled it down to just like 3 main takeaways, and really wanted to focus on the board members' relationship with staff and with council. That seemed to be the most important part to impart to the full council. So boiled that down a little bit. We've got the same background as before, but I took out the graph with the response rate throughout the survey. That just kind of seems superfluous. This is the same slide we had before, talking about the relationship with staff and the council liaison. I'll read a few of the direct quotes, but I'm not going to read all of them.
Okay.
Then I kept this slide, but I took off the last line that we had 60% positive response or 40% negative response to the question about accessibility. And that seemed to kind of, if we just look at what the main 4 that had the most negative response, those all related to relationship with council. So I kind of just limited it to those 4. This is the same slide as before, with comments specifically about the relationship between the boards and council. That's the same as before. This slide is the same as before. And then I kept all of these slides, but I changed the titles. Instead of saying respondent recommendations, I kind of made the titles more related to what was being discussed on that slide. Made it a little clearer. So we've got our same slide here about goals and council action. Same one here about communication, with the takeaway being that there is a desire for greater communication.
Mm-hmm.
And then this powerlessness is kind of the key thing to end on. So then we've got our key takeaways again, which seems to be pretty standard for these presentations. And then this is the same, except I've updated our next steps. And I'll update my notes here to, let's see, currently conducting a staff liaison survey. That's going to conclude, what did we say, January 31st?
Mm-hmm.
We'll analyze the results and report on those findings, next month, which meaning February, and integrate those two surveys to draft recommendations, and then to return with those recommendations in March or April. Does that sound like the right schedule?
I think so.
Okay. And then I added here at the end, because we had talked about with the boards and commissions presentation to have like a solid ask.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to conclude by saying that we don't have an ask this evening in the form of a recommended motion, but we hope that you'll read our full report and remain open to our forthcoming recommendations.
Beautifully stated.
Yes.
Elise, on the second last line, we hope that you read. Can we say we encourage you to read?
Sure.
What do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, I think encourage is stronger than hope.
Yeah.
You might even want to have it. Go ahead.
You're right.
And I was going to just say, we don't have to ask them to make a motion. We could, I think we previously discussed just asking them to accept the report, but they're not going to vote on that even if we propose it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine to say that we don't have a specific ask or recommended motion.
Sure. Yeah, this is part of the manager's report section, and typically I don't think those have any recommended motions. They're more just like informational items.
What we could say is, if you haven't already done so, we hope you will read our full report, because haven't they had it for over a week now? Well, when we get to them, they will have had it for over a week.
Sure.
Or in some way let them know that they've got the full report and they just need to read it, because they might think we're talking about something different than what they've already received.
And I think in the beginning, I do say something about.
Oh, wait, it's not me explaining anything.
Yeah, I'll take that out. And in the beginning, I also will encourage them to read the full report.
Mm-hmm.
And, a link can be provided by the clerk's office if it hasn't already.
You can also drop out that first line. Thank you, Stacy, for the intro.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, I'm going to clean it up now that I know that Stacy's not doing an intro.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I just don't want to I don't think it's necessary. I don't want to take any time away from the presentation.
Right.
Plus, then there's the time between like one person vacating the podium and someone else taking the podium.
True.
And Elise, I know you're modifying the speaker notes some. I'm not sure what will be on the podium, whether it'll be a link to this copy of the presentation, but you might want to print the speaker notes just in case what you see is not what you expect.
Yeah, Nina had said that that the clerk's office will just do like a direct projection of this version here without any speaker notes. So I am planning to, once I finally get them all how I want them, I'm going to print them out and have them with me.
Okay.
Cool.
I know that's old school, but I think it's always good to have a backup.
Sure, yeah.
Question, is there any one-line zinger you could throw in there at the very end that would be really positive about all the work that went in, and that this is a very unique report, and it's tailored specifically for the questions that have come up over time from council and
Yeah. I don't have anything like that yet, but I can add something in here.
Yeah, just a one-liner at the very end, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
On a high note.
About the uniqueness of this report.
Yeah, and I think you can highlight that this process and the report is a work product of this process, which has been a really great example of collaboration between a resident-led working group and city staff bringing this work product to council.
That's good. I like that, Patrick.
Exactly. And very unique, very different, and successful. I mean, even if we were to stop right now, it's still a success. I mean, the amount of information that's in that report is invaluable. We're just adding frosting with the staff stuff.
Yeah, and I think some council members might have heard or experienced this process way back when it began, when it was quite a different vibe than we see today, where it's, there's real progress being made. Our relationship with staff is collaborative. We're supporting each other to move this forward. I just think it's highlighting that for council members that might not have checked in 6 or 12 months is important.
Good point. So what time should we be at the city building?
The meeting starts promptly at 5. Is that correct? I'm planning to be there probably at least 15 minutes before.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Has the agenda been published?
I don't think the agenda's up yet. I can check.
I mean, it will be published. I don't think it's been published yet.
Yeah, it goes up on Friday.
It was not.
The full agenda normally goes up on Friday. I will share, for the benefit of the group, that there will be a council agenda briefing work session on Thursday. This is virtual and on YouTube, and they'll review all the items that come up. I was planning to tune in, and I can relay notes if there's anything of interest regarding our presentation that comes up. But could be as simple as staff just telling council that we're going to be there, or they might go dig a little deeper.
Okay.
I was just checking my schedule. I do have a meeting from 3 to 4, but as soon as that's over, I'll get myself prepared and head that way.
Okay.
And I'll dress nice.
All right, guys. Let's see what else is on the agenda.
Stacy, can I just ask who on this call today is planning on going to the meeting in person? Just raise your hand if you are. All right, that's good. So there could be a few other folks that aren't here, but I think it makes a difference for us all to show up and show support. I wanted to ask, Elise, do you want anyone to be like, should we be prepared to come up to answer questions, or do you plan to answer? Will you call on us, or do you think you've got it all handled and we should just sit wherever in the audience?
Unless it's like a specific question related to maybe the methodology, I will probably handle the questions, I think. But I guess, if there is availability sort of near the front, that would probably be ideal. Or even if you're standing at the back, then it's actually easier to kind of like get your way up to the front quicker than having to like move people aside.
Right. Yeah, and I think if we meet up outside City Hall, we can increase our chances of sitting together. We'll see. I haven't heard that there's going to be anything that's going to draw a ton of people to this meeting, so I don't think we'll have to deal with overflow or anything like that. But if we think that might be an issue, we can coordinate when we meet up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. I'm looking at our timeline that we had fixed up for this, and we're basically on track with our timeline. So let's see. Well, this will work out good because our next meeting should be, let's see, February 13th. Is that correct?
Let me.
I think
let
the
me
12th
confirm
is
that,
a Monday.
Oh, you're right, the 12th. So the 12th. So that should give us enough time to download the info and give a quick look at it at that February 12th meeting to see where we stand, how it looks, and how we want to divide up some responsibilities on the analysis of it.
I think so.
Okay.
And I think we should, at the February meeting, we could start discussing how we want to approach the work of developing recommendations. I don't know if we want to just do all of that in our regular meetings, if we want to consider identifying areas and breaking into subgroups to do it that way. There are a number of ways we could approach actually crafting the recommendations. I think we've already mentioned that we can look at the themes from the survey responses to help guide that work. So that could be one way to divide it if we want.
True. I think that's good. So let's add that to the agenda. And hopefully their responses will jive right into the themes we've already come up with, but who knows? It's going to be very interesting to see how they respond and to see what they have to say.
Jay brought up that the February 12th is President's Day. I don't know if that affects being a national holiday, if that would affect anyone's schedule. Never mind.
The calendar I use, it comes up on the 19th, not the 12th.
Yeah, in some states, the 12th is a state holiday for Lincoln's birthday, but not this one.
How funny. So for this state, is it the 12th or is it the 19th? Do we know?
I was going to say it's February 19th.
Okay. So is the 12th good for everybody?
Should be.
Okay. And it'll be a heads up that if you haven't done your Valentine thing, be sure and get ready for your Valentine's. Or Lent, depending on which way you want to go, or both. So that's all I have. Do y'all have anything else?
I would just reiterate for everyone that Sarah Gross did confirm the survey went out to staff. We've gotten 6 responses so far. The deadline for survey responses is the 31st, and there's nothing more we have to do with that survey until we get the responses back. So I just want to celebrate that win with everyone.
I think 6 responses. Is that almost a third of the people already?
I think there's 27 potential.
Okay, so a fourth. That's pretty good. All right, then, guys.
I have one thing to. It's down the road, but something I want to talk about. At one time, we were considering doing some kind of and this would be after the second part is completed and we have our recommendations prepared, some kind of a press release to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering if we want to push this beyond just the staff and council and push it out to the community, and maybe somebody would get interviewed by Mountain Express or what have you. So it really get some recognition beyond what we're doing over the next month or so. That's just for thought.
Let's talk about that at February. I just
wanted to plant the idea right now. That's
yeah.
all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But good. Let's put that on the agenda too, Patrick, to talk about marketing and
Some kind of community press release.
mm-hmm. Sounds good. Anything else, folks?
I would just add a possible suggestion similar to what Alan mentioned, but once we have a full set of recommendations, we could consider doing some kind of event, whether it's virtual or in person, to request feedback from the general public on our recommendations before we take them to council. I'm just thinking that could be a way we could do some kind of due diligence, give people a chance to weigh in before it's in a council meeting, which could allow us to get some initial feedback. That's a bit of work and not something we absolutely have to do, but just another idea we could consider. It's something I did with a task force that created the charter for the Human Relations Commission. We did like 2 or 3 sessions where people just showed up. We showed them, here's what we're planning to present, and people weighed in on it. And then we made a few revisions from that feedback. So if we want to go that extra step, I've had success using that approach in the past, so it's something we could consider.
So you did an actual in-person session?
Yeah, this was back in maybe 2018 or something. But yeah, we did a few events at community centers where, we just announced it on social media. I think the city might have done a press release and we said, we're unveiling our recommendations, asking for feedback. And then we did one final meeting where we all kind of shared what we heard and made a few revisions to what we were pushing forward to council.
Okay. That sounds good. I think that we should. I like the idea, and let's flesh that out some in February.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little ways down the road. I would do that as our second to last step if we want to do it.
Right. Okay. All righty. Anything else, you guys?
I was just kind of working up a sentence about what we talked about, and I wanted to run it past everyone. 1 second. I'm finishing up though.
Okay, we'll give you a minute.
Okay. I have something like, so first acknowledging the people who helped with this and expressing our gratitude for the opportunity to share this work. And then what I've written is, what we've done here is quite a unique process, and in our opinion, it was quite successful. The work was a collaborative effort between a group of volunteers working closely with staff members to answer many questions brought forth by council members and the public. It's a complete 180 from where the discussion started. Kind of something like that.
And how about we want to thank the city for all their support, just as a final line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I have another thing about, well, I thought there was something about, I'll put that in there as well. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. That sounds great, Elise. Y'all, what do y'all think?
Perfect.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just suggest, if you're talking about staff, it might be good to name Sarah and Ben specifically, since they.
I think you did. I think I saw where you had Elise, but yes.
I have it on the slide, but I will call them out specifically by name in the meeting and recognize their, how important it was working with them and their collaboration with us.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right, guys. Thank y'all very, 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 very much. And we'll see you soon. See you. And, oh my
Good
gosh,
one.
it'll be the first time that I think I've ever seen Jack and Jay in person. Oh my Lordy mercy. All
I've been
right.
having
It's
some
a
of
red
those
letter
moments
day.
recently. Yeah.
Good one.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, everyone.